I always thought my movie would be a comedy, not quite the tragedy that it's become.
Yeah, you don't do bright colors.
Right.
You don't do white.
Well, we'll give this a shot. How's it going, everyone? We're back. Still here.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
No, not a single thing. It's still nighttime. We're still stuck in a old Blockbuster that they just left. I mean, they left everything here and just everyone's gone, and so we're here. We're wondering why no one's come in at this point, but
Even before Blockbusters closed, not many people came in them, so we're really at a disadvantage.
yeah, we didn't even know it was closed until like a couple of weeks ago. So
That's what happens when you spend hours trying to find a movie.
yeah, that's all we've been doing is digging for movies and then watching said movies, and we've done that this time. We've each watched a movie for the first time. I watched Munich, and Ian watched
12 Angry Men.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has.
But yeah, I'm Mark and he's Ian. We're the Uncaped Crusaders, and we're here for Movie Swap. So,
I think you should go first, because I went first last time.
all right, I'll go first as soon as I go and grab these that I forgot to get the props ready. All right, so I watched Munich. Ian watched
12
Angry Men, and so we're going to talk about that. You said you wanted me to start?
Yeah, I went first last time.
That's fair enough. Yeah, so Steven Spielberg, 2005 film Munich, based on real-life events in 1972 Olympic killings in Munich of Palestinian terrorists coming in and killing 11 Israeli athletes. And then this is the aftermath of that.
The Mossad mission, the
yeah.
hand of God is what they called it.
Yeah, kind of the manhunt for all involved. With Golda Meir, the prime minister of Israel, basically just saying, we're going to make an example out of these people. We're going to show strength, and we're not going to let people just come in and kill our citizens. And so she helps amass this secret, covert team, and their only thing, it's not to find information, it's not to do anything, it is only to kill the 11 people. I think it was 11.
Yeah,
11 people involved. 11 and 11, wow, that worked out. 11 victims and 11.
Yeah.
But, and they're going to hunt them down and kill them. And Jeffrey Rush plays the kind of go-between between the Israeli government and this group. And then you have Eric Bana playing Avner as the head of this covert mission. He was selected because he was a former, I guess, Secret Service
commando,
for the Prime Minister.
Yeah, he was Israeli commando, and then I think like a Secret Service for Golda
like a personal bodyguard.
And his father was like a big
a big war hero or in the Israeli army and stuff like that. They don't really go into that.
No.
It's more just implied.
Yeah, you never see his father.
And the point of this movie is it's a commentary on how far governments should go. And not even that. It's just questioning how far governments go. There's no answers provided in this movie. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. It's just getting people to look at that. How far is too far? How far or how long till you become the same thing you're trying to hunt down? And then just the psychological toll on individuals who their entire life now is based around murdering people.
And looking over your shoulder your whole life.
Right. So it's a whole commentary on governments, on reaction, on paranoia, on
espionage.
Espionage. There's so much going on in this movie. So much psychologically going on in this movie.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, no, it's done really, really well.
Spielberg,
the way you look into each character. Obviously, it's mainly Avner, and it's mostly his story of kind of how he's reacting and the toll it's taken on him. But you see it also in all these other characters. You see the guy who's the bomb maker.
Yep. I love that scene.
He has a big arc where he's just like, I was never supposed to do anything like this.
Yeah,
what is going on? Why are we? And kind of puts his foot down. He's like, I'm not going to be involved in this part of it anymore.
Yeah, it's when they go to hunt for the assassin who kills the one member, and they're at the train station. And he gives a great speech about like what Judaism is, and he's like, this isn't it. Like us going after and making victims and doing stuff and kind of being, I want to say terrorists because it's black and white what they were doing, but not necessarily the good guys. That was a great moment, I thought.
Yeah, that's a big turning point in the movie because that's the first time. No, it's not. It's not the first time. But that's one of the main times when they go off script.
Yeah.
The first time is when they go to Lebanon.
Yeah, yeah.
And they because one of the top guys, they find out like
is in Beirut, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and they can't go into Beirut.
Yeah, that's one of the things they told him. Just stick to the European countries. Don't go to the Arab countries.
Understandably.
But they know this big guy is here, and they know where he is. So like, no, we need to take advantage of this, regardless. Who cares what anyone else said? And they do, and it goes horribly wrong, and it becomes a whole giant firefight they didn't anticipate. Everything goes to hell. And so that's the first time they kind of go off. And then this is the big time when now they're just going on a pure extra revenge mission after this assassin kills Carl.
Kieran Hines, also known as Steppenwolf from Justice League, if you didn't know.
Oh, jeez.
A great actor. He's done many other stuff other than that, but unfortunately that's his most recent. But Mance Rayder from Game of Thrones, great actor.
Yeah, no, he does a really good job as that character. But so she kills him, so they go on a revenge mission. To kill her, totally unrelated to anything else.
Yeah, brutal scene.
And that's another big turning point psychologically with the whole movie and with each of those characters. So there's a ton of that. The best part about this movie is the way all of the action scenes are filmed. That's the best part of this. It is so good. The way the thriller element, the terror element.
I mean, the
suspense element in all of these. Anytime they're executing a mission, it is so brilliantly crafted. You're invested. You're glued to the screen, trying to figure out what in the world is going to happen, and that to me was probably the best part of this movie.
Yeah, I love how they of course show what happens in Munich, the end result, but at first you don't see it. I think it cuts off right when the terrorists basically go into the rooms.
They show it in pieces throughout the movie.
So at first they show the terrorists go into the rooms, and then you just see like the news coverage of when they find out, oh no, the rescue mission went terrible, everybody died, and then throughout the movie you get more and more snippets of what actually happened and how it all went down. And yeah, the way they did that was really well.
The only thing I didn't understand is why they're framing it as Abner's memories.
Yeah, that was
something
weird.
He never saw, didn't know anything about, and each time they cut back, it's as if he's remembering the incident.
Yeah, because if you remember, when I recommended this movie, I said the ending was a little bit weird, and the ending itself is pretty bleak and...
Yeah, it is, especially for a Spielberg movie. Yeah,
but the ending I'm talking about is the sex scene at the end, which is
very odd.
It really clashes with the rest of the movie, and that's when, as he's making love to his wife, he remembers like the final moments of the rescue mission when all the hostages are killed. And so to have it go along with that scene, I thought was not very Spielberg and not very fitting.
But they framed it that way the whole movie.
Yeah, when he's on the plane.
He's remembering things, and I didn't get... I'm sure it was done for some reason, but I don't get it.
I guess
he doesn't know anything about this.
I'm assuming it's supposed to be his motivation when he's justifying what to do on his mission. He's remembering the brutality of what happened. But you're right, it does kind of come off across like it's his memory of like, you weren't there.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. I liked the whole French...
family.
The French information
the
mafia
freelance,
family type thing. That was really cool. That was a fun thread throughout the whole thing of him trying to balance, this and the mission and all this stuff clashing and keeping track of everything.
Well, my favorite part of the movie is how they really show like Cold War era espionage, where it's not black and white. I mean, you constantly see the different...
I mean, they work for both. They're giving information to the PCL.
Or you find out later that the main bad guy, Salami, the mastermind, is being protected by the CIA, which I love the intricacy and how it's not... it's so much more complicated. Because it was back then, especially my dad, who was basically a spy in the Cold War. He loved this movie for that reason. He was like, it was really accurate in that regard.
Yeah, that stuff is done really well.
Yeah.
The whole emotional toll of everything.
Oh yeah.
With Eric Bana from the beginning, basically white meat
He's got a new baby family and everything, and he goes to visit.
And then it's slowly just him mentally just degrading to the point of just total paranoia and
sleeping in the closet.
Obsession. Yeah, they set that up. They hit you over the head with that one.
Sure.
As soon as they set that up at the beginning, you're like, oh, I wonder if he's going to sleep in a closet later in the movie.
Spielberg too. We gotta be real. Yeah.
So, but it's still good. That doesn't mean it's bad.
No.
Just because something's teed up doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's bad.
Tried and true.
So that's done really well. And then other moments of there's really great moments of like Hitchcockian suspense, which again I just had you watch Rear Window. Kind of doing that, and you get several moments like that in this movie.
The phone call with the little girl.
That is by far the best part of the entire movie. That scene is brilliant for so many reasons. One, just because of how it's set up. The suspense of this, here's the bomb, we put it in the phone, this is how we're going to set it up. We have everyone stationed, it's the big plan, we have it all down to a T. They leave here, we signal this guy, they make the phone call, they answer it up, you see the thing, turn the bomb, all that stuff. Like, it's all set up perfectly.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as it's about to happen, you see the family drive off, and you're like, all right, here we go. Now make the call.
Yeah.
And then you see this giant bus pull up, and then you see the family's car back up, and then the little girl go back into the house, and they can't see that happening. And you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, and they drown out the sound of it. Oh, it is.
And then you see, make the call, the phone rings, little girl says, no, I'll get it. Goes over, and you're just edge of your seat the whole time, picks up the phone, and the guy hears the girl say hello, and then it's Carl, right? It's the older guy, one of the older guys, and then he freaks out,
gets out of the phone booth,
and having to watch this old guy trying to get as fast as he can over the thing. You're like, you see the light go off, see the guy put the key in, and at the very last second he gets there. And it's like abort. And
I love how even he's freaked out when he takes his hand away and he's like shooken up and
that is brilliant. And then they immediately do the plan still.
Yep, you got it.
And then they watch him leave, and then they do it again, and it's just like that on so many levels. That's good, because in a movie like this, you definitely expect them to blow the girl up,
right?
Because of the way it's emotionally weighted and all that stuff. You expect that, and then that doesn't happen, and you're like, oh, okay, now there's gonna be a moment where, are we doing this? And then they go right, and they still do the plan. You're like, okay. That subverted expectations
in a good way.
So well, like twice.
But then the guy survives, and so they're
right. And then they have to be like, then he ends up dying.
Yeah,
but
of course. But they're getting on the bomb maker about making the bomb more powerful. So then the next time when they're in Greece or whatever, and they're in the hotel,
it's too powerful.
It almost kills Erebana and the whole
and the two other
newlyweds
next to them. So that it's all that, the slippery slope argument, all that stuff is done really, really well. The movie wasn't amazing to me because it's so sloppily put together because of them forcing it out as quickly as possible for Oscar season.
Oh, they did. You're right.
That it's not very well paced. The pacing is bad. It's way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it should be 2 hours. Like, you could easily take 45 minutes out of this movie. And it would be, and then pace it a little bit, and it would be faster paced, more investing, and it would be way better. And they did that because Spielberg was filming War of the Worlds at the exact same time.
Oh, you're right.
And they were trying to rush it out for Oscar season. So therefore, basically, what I was hearing is they would shoot a scene, and then edit it, and then 2 days later they would send it to John Williams to get it scored.
Wow. So
they were making it that quickly, and it shows. So to me, this movie could have been potentially an all-time great.
Yeah.
But just because they didn't quite they rushed in everything. That's the one big glaring flaw with this movie. There's not really any flaw in the movie itself.
No.
It's the execution of how they did it.
And that's so sad because you think about movies whereas like this is so much better and worth it than what War of the Worlds ended up being.
Yeah.
But anyway, still a great movie, but again, the missed potential.
Yeah, but definitely very good movie. Definitely worth watching for sure. Just for the performances and the directing with some of those action scenes.
Would you agree? Maybe the last great Spielberg movie or one of his last best?
Probably. I personally like Ready Player One.
Oh, that's right.
Still, I'm not saying it's any cinematic masterpiece, but I enjoy that movie. But as far as that goes, you're probably right. As far as no, because Catch Me If You Can came after.
Oh, when did that come out?
Like the next year, maybe?
That was a good one.
It was another year or two, I believe. I think it was like 06 or 07.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the last.
Okay,
Really good
I'll give you that.
But definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah.
A few little information things. Obviously, it came out in 2005. Had a budget $70 million, which for Spielberg movie is pretty low.
That's pretty low.
Didn't do great. Made about $130 million, so probably lost around $10-20 million.
It's a polarizing topic or issue. Yeah,
it was.
Especially if you're anti-Israel, you do not watch.
Yeah. And then it's got pretty good ratings.
Yeah.
7.5 on IMDb, 3.7 Letterboxd, and then Rotten Tomatoes 78% critic score, 83% audience score. So good numbers above the up and down the list. And one thing I did forget to mention, early Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
That was fun.
This was right before he, I think it was announced that he was cast as James Bond before they started filming. So people saw this and they were a bit hot under the collar when they saw a blonde, James Bond. But of course, we found out later next year he killed it.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. So, but good movie. I would recommend watching it for sure if you have like a whole 12 hours to watch this movie. Thank you, Ian, for 2-3 hours.
I'm going to make it up to you next one. Yeah, that greatly influenced my next pick.
Well, good.
Or find.
I appreciate that.
Come on, you're a Jew, you're a stranger. It's written someplace or other that I'm meant to ask you to come and break bread with me. So, break bread with me, Ephraim.
All right, so we talked about Munich, and now it's time for Ian to tell us about 12 Angry Men. And I'm excited about this because he actually did some research here, which, if you know Ian, he never does.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. And he saw me do a little bit of research last week.
Overachiever.
For Blade Runner. I did not this time because it's been longer and I didn't have a chance. But anyway, I'm curious to hear about 12 Angry Men, the play that's a movie.
Right. Well, in one word, overrated.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone send your hate letters to Ian. Or at Ian Bark on Twitter.
At this Blockbuster, if you can get the address. No.
Good luck finding this, though. We've been trying to get people to find this for years.
No, yeah, good luck. Actually, you would help us if you did. Yeah. But no, it is...
Ever seen Gilligan's Island? That's like our existence.
Oh, yeah.
We're making things out of old DVD cases.
And old expired popcorn and candy. But no, I mean, my God, this film's incredible. Everything I've heard has been nothing but glowing, and you have to watch this movie. And I've wanted to for the longest time, but you hear about it, a 90-minute movie where it all takes place in one room, 12 guys, black and white. You're not necessarily, I can't wait to watch that, but I was totally wrong when you watch it because I wrote in my review how this film is a testament to writing.
Yes.
All about the writing.
That's what I said when I said it. This is the best written film I think I've ever seen, as far as dialogue goes.
Yeah.
I think it's the best I've ever seen.
Because that's what the whole movie is. I mean, it has to be. I mean, it shows you a quick 1-minute recap of the judge going over the case, and then they're immediately in the room for the whole movie.
Yep,
There's no quick character introduction of them going into the courtroom.
There's no flashback backstory of anyone.
You see one shot of the defendant, the young guy they're basically deciding, and that's it. Yep. And then the whole movie takes place in the room, and somehow they completely pull it off. And
I know.
It's incredible. I mean, that achievement alone, because you have these 12 guys, they're all different. I mean, they're all old, angry white guys, basically. They're stuck in a hot room. Most of them...
we're like this Blockbuster, because we haven't had AC now in 12 years.
Yeah, they turned the power off a long time ago.
Except for these lights. They want to keep the lights on, but the
generator
AC
somewhere.
Yeah.
And so they all want to go home. It's probably like a Friday afternoon. They're all ready to go. To them, it's all a cut and dry case, but you have one guy who has a little bit of doubt. He's not even saying that the kid is innocent. He just says, I don't know if he's guilty. And that's the MVP of this movie, freaking Henry Fonda.
Oh, yeah. He's the head of the movie.
My God, he is so good in this movie. If every human being was like Henry Fonda in this movie in terms of how they approached like issues and topics, the world would have no conflict.
Yeah.
But sadly, most people are not.
Most people are like the other 11 people in this movie.
But that's the best part of the movie, is that the whole movie is watching every juror, basically, and you never know their names.
Yeah.
Which is great until like
it's
the
just
end.
the numbers.
Yeah. And you're slowly watching each juror be persuaded for a different reason, whether it's evidence or like what I loved was them kind of admitting their own biases and prejudice against the kid. And that's when the movie really stood out in terms of breaking down these people and finding out how people think and how we view people based on our own experiences and bias. And that part was great. And that's your action, is when when they go for a vote, and suddenly it'll go from all in favor to 1 in doubt, 2 in doubt. That's your action for the movie. It's incredible. And I wrote down a couple of things. My favorite part was when you had Ed Begley, who's like juror number 11, 10 or whatever.
I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah, but he's very hostile. He wants to get out of there. He's adamant that the kid is guilty. And they're talking about how the kid came from like a low income neighborhood, bad neighborhood. And Ed Begley is going on about how kids don't know any good, or that kid don't know no good. And the Polish guy next to him corrects his grammar and was saying, the kid doesn't know any good.
An ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
And it just shows his ignorance and his hypocrisy of being like, oh, these immigrants basically don't learn English. And the Polish guy next to him is saying, well, you don't either. That part got me, but there's so many good parts. I mean, the two standouts, you have your hero, which is basically Henry Fonda, but then you kind of have the closest thing to a villain or antagonist being Lee Cobb, who's great.
Yeah.
My God.
And that was cold, just merciless, just unwavering.
Bully-like, really. Yeah.
Just unwavering hatred, set in stone.
Yeah.
Not going to be moved.
Going after people for even changing their vote or whatever. But then the best part is the ending, basically the climax of the movie is him, because he's the last one. Everyone else has come around for various reasons. They're all really good. But he's the last one, and everyone's looking at him being like, why are you still so hard to prove and hard to convince? And you find out it's a personal reason for him, and he breaks down and starts crying because basically the father is killed. The whole case is about the kid stabbing his father, and so he mentions earlier how he and his son haven't talked for like 2 years, and then he starts to like break down and cry when he talks about how the kid could just abandon his father like that, and then everyone is silent in the room like, hits a little close to home, you think, and he starts crying, and my God, what a great scene.
No. Not guilty. Not guilty.
I mean...
Oh yeah, you get whacked over the head with the emotional weight of the Titanic. Not the movie, the actual
No,
not the movie.
And after that, he immediately goes, not guilty. And then they don't even say anything. I think they give the vote to the bailiff or whatever. And that's the movie. Yeah, I love how you don't see the end of the trial. You don't see the kid go free and everything. You don't have a great moment or a cheesy moment where they're in the room, the trial, and someone comes in running, Your Honor, I have the evidence right here, and you don't have that. You literally have Lee Cobb admit his own, his own faults, his own weakness, and that's it. And they all leave. Yeah. And I love the scene right after that where Henry Fonda's leaving, and the old guy, I forget the actor's name, he comes up to him and is like, hey, what's your name? And Henry Fonda says something I can't remember, and the old guy tells him his, and they just go, okay. And they walk away.
Yeah, that's it.
Because that's the whole point. It's not about, it doesn't matter who they are. It matters how they come to their decision. And this movie just shows you that. And I could go on all day.
Yeah, I also like how even with the whole setup and everything, there's still no definitive proof of anything. There's still, it all still could have happened the way they all thought at the beginning. Yeah. I mean, they poke holes in it the whole time, obviously. Yeah. And so that's the whole point of the justice system of innocent till proven guilty and reasonable doubt, and all that. And they do a great job of showing how that process should work. In theory, this is how it was designed to work. Right. Exactly the way it takes place in this movie.
And if you think about it, you would think people would be mad that we never find out who the killer may or may not be.
But that's not the point. Not the point. No. A trial is not about solving the case.
Right.
The trial is about that particular person who's on trial. Did they do this, yes or no? That's the point. And so it doesn't try and get bigger with other things. It doesn't try and politicize it with other things. It really keeps it as an emotional, grounded, single story, and then in that one single story, you then get a whole bunch of character stories, all that come to fruition based from it. Yeah. And that's the whole point. That's why the whole drama comes out of.
Yeah, and everybody in the movie is good. I mean, what I was saying, they don't feel like characters. And again, they're not really characters.
Feel like people.
Yeah, because they're not given names, and so they feel like real people with real backgrounds and real decision-making processes. No, it's fantastic. I wrote down a couple things. Craziest trivia about this movie. So how many Oscars do you think it was nominated for?
0.
3.
Okay, good.
Okay, how many do you think it won?
0.
0. And not nominated for any acting. Not for Best Lead for Henry Fonda.
I think this struggles from too many roles.
I'm sure they justified it that way. They're like, oh, everybody's equal.
Which ended up being the problem with The Departed, and why DiCaprio didn't win Best Actor.
Or like how Tom Hanks this year was Best Supporting for the Mr. Rogers movie. So I'm sure they were saying, oh, well, they're all equal, so how could anyone be lead or supporting? But this movie has a problem that kind of other movies have, where it came out in the wrong year. If it came out in any other year, I'm sure it would have swept. Yeah. But it came out the same year that Bridge on the River Kwai came out. So
57.
And that was what pretty much cleaned house and took all the nominations. So unreal to think about. And now it's number 5 on IMDb's top 250.
I think this is better than The Bridge Across the River.
I do too. I do too. That's a great movie, don't get me wrong. But again, a 90-minute movie, what they're able to achieve, and
it's amazing.
The minimal, I mean, there's still great filmmaking in it. There's still great editing, great directing, the way they move the camera, even in this confined room. There's not really any music, but the way they bring in the rain at the end to kind of heighten that suspense and the
drama.
Heat. Yep. There's still masterful filmmaking behind it. But again, 90 minutes, one room, 12 guys. That is it. But yeah, I guess I finally wrote down the scores and everything.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, usually you're the one to do it.
I didn't do it this time. I was hoping he would take some initiative.
I did.
There's nothing else for him to do in here.
No, no.
That's it.
Yeah.
We don't do anything.
I like to think I bring the comedy, but as we mentioned, it had is number 5 on IMDb's top 250. Dark Knight is number 4. I love me The Dark Knight. I can't in good conscience call that a better movie, but IMDb, like Joker is number 40 or something, so take that with a grain of salt.
It's on the list of AFI's
I mean, it's on all of them.
100 all-time films. I forgot where it was. It's somewhere in the top 15 or 20.
I mean, like Casablanca, Shawshank, you watch and you're like, I get it, and I agree completely.
Oh, yeah.
It has an 8.9 on IMDb, really good. 4.5 on Letterboxd. I don't know if I've seen many that high on Letterboxd.
It's really high.
96 on Metacritic, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for critic, and 97 for audience. So, I mean, that gives you an idea.
Board.
Yeah.
Across the board.
I mean,
clean sweep.
You get to find anybody. I feel like you could find people who don't like black and white movies and old movies, and you can, hey, sit down, watch it, and they will like it. Because, again, the writing is... you can't do it nowadays, or
it's one of those movies you would just finish, and then you just turn to the person and just,
wow,
are you not entertained?
Yeah.
That's the... I mean, if there's a perfect character drama in a movie,
this is it.
It's this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing now?
I guess we talk.
Well, there we go.
12
Those
Angry
are 2
Men.
movies. 12 Angry Men and Munich. 2 solid choices, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, now it's time for us to pick our next movie to watch. So I guess I'll go first. I dug
this. Find
one? I did. I dug this puppy out. We're going into the early 90s for you.
Okay.
It's a movie that's not necessarily a great movie. It's a good movie.
Okay.
But this is a movie that is mostly about one outstanding acting performance. So I'm going to have you watch the Val Kilmer-led The Doors.
I knew this was coming eventually.
Oliver Stone, biopic, before biopics were really a thing.
Yeah.
Especially music ones, which now it's become a big thing. But this was the first one. To be honest, it was well ahead of its time.
Yeah.
If this thing came out in the past few years, it would probably have gotten much more critical acclaim than it did at the time. Anyway, so he does all his own singing in the movie,
was a
all
great
the stuff,
singer,
and it's worth watching just for this performance.
Well, I'm glad. I have faith in Val because I've stated I don't like music biopics. I'm not a huge Doors fan, but a love letter to Val Kilmer where he can just shine the whole time, I'm on board.
I'm always on board with that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep giving him Val Kilmer movies that he hasn't
That's
seen.
right, yeah.
These low level ones. Oh, this one isn't the low level, but I got a bunch of them.
Yeah,
In
Salt
the
and
queue.
Sea. Yeah.
Yeah, Salt and Sea was one that we did not too long ago.
Okay. Well, I've been.
Please be shorter than 3 hours.
That was my main criteria for picking a movie.
Perfect.
I wanted to go earlier in the day because I've given you a lot of recent, 21st century movies, but all the older ones were like 2.5 hours. I'm like, I can't do that. So I picked the shortest movie I had in my little queue.
Thanks.
Found it.
Good. Thank goodness we had it.
Who knew? Although it is a recent movie, so I would hope. Came out in 2011. Bit of a cult classic. Be honest, movie I did not like upon first viewing. And the problem is this movie had really bad marketing. Where the movie they marketed was nothing like the movie we got. I'm going to have you watch Ryan Gosling's 2011 Drive.
Okay.
This is a big
Okay.
kind of hipster.
Okay.
People love this movie.
Yeah.
It's noir. It's all about the atmosphere. There's great stunt driving, but very little. And that was a problem where the trailer made it seem like it was going to be kind of a Steve McQueen, badass, racing. No. There's like maybe 2 car chases in the movie. But it's all about Ryan Gosling's character. It's basically like a dark Shane, if you think about it.
Okay.
It's all about the directing. It's by Nicholas Winding Refn. Not a big fan of him, but this is kind of his crown jewel, everyone agrees. Haven't liked any other movie by he's done, but this is a very interesting one. I'll be curious to see what you think, but go into it with an open mind.
This is one I've been meaning to watch for a while. I even started watching it a few months ago, and then something happened, and I got through like 5 minutes of it, and I didn't end up finishing watching it. So
great soundtrack.
So I'm excited to watch. I'm a big fan of car, this type of movie. I like this type of driver character.
Yeah, great cast. Ryan Gosling, Bryan Cranston, Ron Perlman, Carey Mulligan, Oscar Isaac. Yeah. Interesting. I'll see. Very violent. I'll warn you right ahead. Nicholas Winding Refn loves violence, but yeah, worth watching. You got it.
Perfect. I'm excited. So for next week, Ian's watching The Doors. I'm watching Drive. All right, well, that does it for this episode of Movie Swap. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Keep us company.
Yeah, keeping us company in this abandoned time, and everything else is abandoned too. So
it works out. We're not alone.
Yeah, now we're not alone anymore, so that's good. So thanks a lot, guys. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at Uncaped Review. I post all the links to all the shows, links to our Batman podcast, Uncaped Crusaders review comes out every Friday morning. Check that out as we're going through animated series and the Adam West series as well. So check that out, all podcast platforms. You can follow me on Twitter at MarkyMarkBrand.
You can follow me at Ian Bark.
So do that as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will be talking to you next time with another episode of Movie Swap.
And even